The mining station on Kepler 442c was having a very bad day. Mrix pressed his furry paws against the communication console and tried not to panic. The small Phalidi looked out through the station's main window at the 6 pirate ships that had appeared in their system an hour ago. "This is Kepler Mining Station calling for help." Mrix spoke into the microphone for the 10th time. "We have pirates attacking our colony. They have better weapons than us. We need help right now." The pirates were not very smart, but they had big guns. They wanted the rare metals that Mrix's people had been mining for 3 years. The mining station had 2,000 workers, mostly peaceful plant-eating aliens who had never hurt anyone. They had no real weapons to fight back with. Mr. IX watched as another pirate ship fired at their main power station. Sparks flew everywhere. The lights in the control room went dim. Several workers ran past his window, carrying emergency supplies to the safe bunkers underground. "Please, anyone who can hear this," Mrix said into the radio. "We are just miners. We have families here. The pirates are taking everything. Someone help us." What Mrix did not know was that his distress call was about to cause the biggest mistake in galactic history. Far above the planet, an old communication relay station floated in space. This station was supposed to take messages from one place and send them to another place. It had been working fine for 50 years. But last week, a solar storm had hit it hard. The storm had damaged many of the station's circuits. When Mrix's distress call reached the relay station, something went very wrong. Instead of sending the message to just the local patrol ships, the broken station began sending it everywhere. The message bounced from one relay to another, getting louder each time. The call for help shot across space at light speed. It went to trade stations, military bases, and government centers. Within minutes, Mrix's simple plea for help had reached hundreds of different places across the galaxy. Most of the aliens who got the message thought it was strange. Why was a small mining station sending distress calls to places thousands of light years away? They ignored it and went back to their normal work. But there was one place where the message was not ignored. On Earth, in the underground command center of Terran Defense Command, Admiral Sarah Chun was drinking her morning coffee when the message came in. She was a tall woman with short gray hair and sharp blue eyes. She had been in the Earth military for 30 years and had fought in every major battle since humans joined the galactic community. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Rodriguez from his Azara station, "we're getting a distress signal from the outer rim. Some kind of attack on a civilian colony." Sarah put down her coffee and walked over to Rodriguez's console. "Let me hear it." The message played through the speakers. Mrix's scared voice filled the command center. "This is Kepler Mining Station calling for help. We have pirates attacking our colony. They have better weapons than us. We need help right now." "How many casualties?" Sarah asked. "Unknown, Admiral. The signal is breaking up, but it sounds bad." "They mentioned 2,000 civilians," Sarah frowned. In her experience, when pirates attacked colonies with 2,000 people, they usually killed many of them. Pirates did not like witnesses. And if this distress call was reaching Earth, it meant the local authorities were either dead or running away. "Where exactly is this place?" she asked. Rodriguez checked his computer. "Kepler 442c. It's in the outer rim, about 2 weeks travel time at maximum speed." 2 weeks, Sarah said quietly. "By the time anyone gets there, those people will be dead." But Sarah did not know that the message had been sent to Earth by mistake. She did not know that it was supposed to go only to local patrol ships. All she knew was that 2,000 innocent people were under attack, and nobody else seemed to be helping them. "Admiral," said another officer, Commander Park, "we're also getting some strange secondary signals. Looks like there might be more than just pirates. Could be a coordinated attack." This was also wrong. The secondary signals were just the echo effects from the broken relay station. But to Sarah and her staff, it looked like a major military operation. Sarah walked to the center of the command room. Around her, dozens of officers worked at their stations, monitoring space traffic and military communications. The walls showed star maps and ship positions across human space. "Get me a full tactical analysis," Sarah ordered. "I want to know everything about this system and who might be attacking it." For the next hour, Sarah's team gathered information. What they found made the situation look even worse. The Kepler system was far from any major military bases. The local patrol ships were small and weak. If this was really a big attack, those patrol ships would not be able to stop it. Sarah had always believed in one simple rule: when people called for help, you helped them. It did not matter if they were human or alien. It did not matter how far away they were. When someone was in trouble, you did everything you could to save them. "Rodriguez," she said finally, "send a message to Fleet Command. Tell them we have a code-red emergency in the Outer Rim. Request permission to deploy the full expeditionary fleet." Rodriguez looked surprised. "The full fleet, Admiral? That's 200 ships." "Those people asked for help," Sarah said firmly. "We're going to give them all the help we can." Within an hour, the orders went out across Earth's military network. Every available warship was to prepare for immediate departure. Marines grabbed their weapons and ran to transport ships. Supply officers loaded food, medical equipment, and ammunition as fast as they could. Sarah stood on the bridge of her flagship, the TDS Indomitable, and watched as the largest human military force ever assembled prepared to jump across the galaxy. She had no idea that she was about to start the greatest misunderstanding in galactic history, but she did know one thing: 2,000 people had asked for help, and Earth was going to answer. The pirate Captain Vex was having the best day of his life. He stood on the bridge of his small ship and watched his crew load stolen mining equipment into their cargo hold. The attack on Kepler mining station had gone perfectly. 6 ships, 30 pirates, and they had taken everything valuable without firing a single shot at anyone. "Boss," called his second-in-command, a skinny reptile named Scrix, "we got all the good stuff. The rare metals, some food, and their backup power cells. Should we leave now?" Vex nodded. "Yeah, let's get out of here before the patrol ships show." The pirates had been very careful. They knew that mining stations usually called for help when attacked. But the nearest patrol base was 3 days away, and those patrol ships were old and slow. By the time help arrived, Vex and his crew would be long gone, selling their stolen goods in some distant black market. What Vex did not know was that his small raid had just triggered the largest military response in galactic history. As the 6 pirate ships jumped away from Kepler 442c, the broken communication relay was still sending Rix's distress call across the galaxy. The message was getting stronger and reaching more places every hour. On the trade world of Zephyros Prime, Admiral Klex was eating lunch when his aide burst into his office. "Admiral," the young Zephyrian said, his blue skin turning pale with worry, "we're getting reports of a massive human military deployment. They're sending their entire fleet toward the Outer Rim." Admiral Klex dropped his sandwich. The Zephyrians were traitors, not fighters. They had heard stories about the humans and their reputation as Deathworlders. Every alien in the galaxy knew that humans came from a planet so dangerous that most species would die there in minutes. "How many ships?" Klex asked. "Our sources say 200 warships, sir. Plus transport ships carrying thousands of Marines." Klex felt his stomach drop. 200 ships? That's enough firepower to conquer a dozen systems. What could possibly require that much force? "We don't know, sir. But the fleet is headed toward the Kepler sector. That's right next to our main trade routes." Klex stood up quickly. The Zephyrians had worked hard to build peaceful trade relationships across the galaxy. If the humans were starting some kind of war near their trade routes, it would ruin everything. Get me Admiral Fesses of the Crystalline Hegemony, Klex ordered. If the humans are planning something big, we need to know about it. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening on dozens of worlds. The news of Earth's massive fleet deployment spread faster than the original distress call. Each species that heard about it became more worried than the last. On the crystal world of Nexus 7, Admiral Thesis received Klex's call while she was inspecting her fleet. The Crystalline Hegemony had been enemies with humans during their first contact years ago. They had learned to respect human military power, but they still did not trust them completely. Admiral Klex, Thesis said, her crystal body reflecting light as she spoke. I assume you're calling about the human fleet movement? You know about it too? Klex asked through the communication screen. My intelligence officers briefed me an hour ago. 200 warships moving at maximum speed toward the outer rim. They're calling it a emergency response, but they won't say what the emergency is. Have you tried contacting Earth directly? Yes, their military command is not taking calls from foreign governments. All they will say is that they are responding to a crisis situation. Both admirals were quiet for a moment. Neither of them wanted to believe that the humans were planning to attack anyone, but the evidence was hard to ignore. Admiral, Thesis said finally, I think we need to be ready for anything. I'm going to move 3 of my fleets to the border systems. Just in case. I'll do the same, Klex agreed. If the humans are planning something, we need to be prepared to defend ourselves. Meanwhile, on the planet Herbos, Ambassador Nith was having her own crisis. The Herbivore Alliance was a group of peaceful plant-eating species that had never fought a war. They depended on other species to protect them from pirates and hostile governments. Ambassador, her assistant said, running into her office with a data pad. We just received this message from our contacts on Zephyros Prime. Nith read the message and felt her leaves begin to shake. The humans are deploying their entire military, but why? Nobody knows, Ambassador, but all the other species are getting scared. The Zephyrians and Crystallines are moving their fleets. Everyone thinks something big is about to happen. Nith sat down heavily in her chair. Get me a direct line to Earth. I don't care what their military says. This is a diplomatic emergency. But Earth's diplomatic channels were overloaded. Every species in the galaxy was trying to call them at the same time. The human government was as confused as everyone else. They had approved Admiral Chun's request for fleet deployment, but they had not expected it to cause such a massive panic. Back on Kepler 442c, Mrix was trying to repair his damaged communication equipment. The pirates had been gone for 2 hours, and the mining station was slowly getting back to normal. The workers were coming out of their bunkers and starting to clean up the mess. Did anyone answer our distress call? Asked his assistant, a young Thality named Trix. I think so, Memar IX said, adjusting the radio antenna. I'm getting some strange signals. It sounds like there are a lot of ships moving in space. Maybe the patrol fleet is coming to check on us. That's good news, Trix said. How many ships do you think they're sending? Probably just 1 or 2. Patrol ships. That's usually enough to scare away pirates. Mrix had no idea that his simple call for help had started a chain reaction across the galaxy. He did not know that the most feared military force in known space was racing toward his quiet little mining station. He did not know that 3 different alien fleets were also moving toward his system, ready for war. All Mrix knew was that the pirates were gone, nobody was hurt, and hopefully someone would come to make sure they were safe. He turned back to his radio and sent out another message. This is Kepler Mining Station. The immediate danger has passed. The pirates have left our system. We are safe now. Thank you to anyone who received our call for help. But this new message, like his first one, went into the broken relay station and got lost in the chaos. Nobody heard it. The largest military misunderstanding in galactic history was just getting started. Admiral Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of her flagship as it dropped out of hyperspace. Above Kepler 442c, she had expected to see a battle zone. She had expected burning ships and emergency signals. She had expected the worst. Instead, she saw a quiet little mining station orbiting a peaceful planet. A few small transport ships moved between the station and the planet's surface. Everything looked completely normal. "Tactical report," Sarah ordered. "No hostile ships detected, Admiral," reported Commander Park. "No weapons fire. No debris fields. The mining station appears to be operating normally." Sarah frowned. Behind her flagship, 199 other Earth warships were arriving in the system. The combined firepower was enough to destroy entire fleets. But there was nothing here to fight. "Are we in the right system?" Sarah asked. "Yes, Admiral. This is definitely Kepler 442c. The mining station matches all our records." "Then where are the pirates? Where's the battle?" Down on the mining station, Mrix was having lunch when his assistant Trix ran into the cafeteria. The young Phallides' eyes were wide with terror. "Mrix, you need to come to the control room right now," Trix shouted. "What's wrong?" Mrix asked, dropping his sandwich. "Just come, you have to see this." Mrix followed Trix to the control room and looked out the main window. What he saw made his fur stand on end. The sky was full of huge gray warships. More ships than he had ever seen in his entire life. Each one was the size of a city block. "How many ships are there?" Mrix whispered. "The computer says 200, Trix," replied, his voice shaking. "These aren't patrol ships, Mrix. These are warships, big ones." Other workers had gathered in the control room. They all stared up at the massive fleet in fear. Most of them had never seen a military ship before, let alone 200 of them. "What do they want?" asked an elderly herbivore worker named Leaf. "I don't know," Mrix said. "But they're not responding to our communications." On the bridge of the Indomitable, Sarah was trying to figure out what had happened. Her intelligence officers were scanning the entire system, looking for any sign of the pirates or the battle they had come to stop. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Rodriguez, "I'm detecting some damage to the mining station's power systems. Looks like weapons fire, but it's minor. Nothing that would require 200 ships to handle." "How minor?" Sarah asked. "A few burned circuits, some blown fuses, maybe an hour of repair work. It looks like someone shot at their power station with basic energy weapons." Sarah was starting to realize they had made a terrible mistake. She activated the communication system to contact the mining station directly. "This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the Terran Defense Force. Mining station, please respond." Down in the control room, Mrix nearly jumped out of his chair when the human voice came through their speakers. He had heard stories about humans. Everyone in the galaxy had. They were the scary aliens who came from a death world. They were warriors who could fight in conditions that would kill most other species. Mrix said into his microphone, his voice very small. "This is Mining Station Administrator Mrix. We didn't do anything wrong. We received your distress call about a pirate attack," Sarah said. "We came to help. What's your current status?" "The pirates left hours ago," Mrix replied. "They took some equipment and damaged our power station, but nobody was hurt. The danger is over." Sarah felt her stomach sink. "The pirates are gone? How long ago?" "About 6 hours, Admiral. They were only here for maybe 2 hours total. It wasn't really a big attack, just 6 small ships looking for easy salvage." Commander Park looked at Sarah with a confused expression. 6 ships? We brought 200 ships to fight 6 pirates? Before Sarah could answer, Lieutenant Rodriguez called out from his station. "Admiral, we have incoming ships. Multiple fleets approaching the system." Sarah turned to the main screen. 3 separate groups of ships were approaching Kepler 442c. She recognized the designs: Zephyrian trade vessels, crystalline hegemony warships, and ships from the Herbivore Alliance. What are they doing here? Sarah muttered. Her answer came. Quickly, Admiral Klex's voice came through the communication system. Human ships, this is Admiral Klex of the Zephyrian Confederation. We demand to know why you have brought an invasion force to this system. Invasion force? Sarah replied. We're not invading anyone. We responded to a distress call. A distress call that required 200 warships. Came another voice. This one belonged to Admiral Thesses of the Crystalline Hegemony. Admiral Chun, your fleet has enough firepower to destroy entire planets. What kind of distress call justifies this response? Sarah looked around her bridge. Her officers were all staring at her, waiting for an answer she didn't have. How could she explain that they had brought the most powerful military force in human history to deal with 6 pirates who were already gone? There was a communication error, Sarah said finally. We believed the situation was much more serious than it actually was. A communication error? Admiral Klex's voice was full of disbelief. You brought enough ships to conquer half the galaxy because of a communication error? Down on the mining station, more workers had crowded into the control room. They watched in amazement as alien fleets faced off in the sky above their peaceful home. Are they going to fight? Trix asked nervously. I hope not, Mar-IX replied. If those big ships start shooting at each other, we could get caught in the middle. The situation was getting more complicated by the minute. Sarah could see that the alien admirals didn't believe her explanation. They thought the humans were lying about the communication error. They thought this was all part of some secret human plan. Admiral Chun, came a new voice. This one belonged to Ambassador Nith of the Herbivore Alliance. My people are very frightened. We have never seen so many warships in one place. Please explain why Earth has chosen to display such overwhelming force in this peaceful system. Sarah realized that this was turning into a diplomatic disaster. Every word she said seemed to make the other species more suspicious. They couldn't understand why humans would bring so much firepower to help a small mining station. But Sarah was starting to understand something about her own species. Humans didn't do anything halfway. When someone called for help, humans brought everything they had. When someone was in danger, humans didn't worry about using too much force. They worried about not having enough. The truth is, Sarah said into the communication system, we heard that 2,000 civilians were under attack. We brought everything we had because we didn't want to arrive too late to save them. There was a long silence. Finally, Admiral Klex spoke. Again, you brought 200 ships to save 2,000 miners you had never met? Yes, Sarah said simply. Another silence. Then Admiral Theses asked, all of this was really just to help people? That's what humans do, Sarah replied. When someone asks for help, we help them. Down on the mining station, Mrix listened to the conversation with growing amazement. The scary human Deathworlders had brought their entire fleet just to help his small mining station. He had never heard of anyone doing something like that before. The standoff in space continued, but something was changing. The alien admirals were starting to realize that maybe they had misunderstood human intentions completely. Admiral Sarah Chun looked at the 3 alien fleets surrounding her ships and tried to think of a way to make this situation better. She had 200 warships, but fighting was the last thing she wanted to do. The humans had come here to help people, not start a war. Admiral, Commander Park said quietly, what are your orders? Sarah thought for a moment. Send a message to all ship commanders. Tell them to power down their weapons and open their cargo bays. I want the aliens to see that we brought medical supplies and repair equipment, not just guns. Are you sure? That's wise, Admiral. We're outnumbered if this turns into a fight. It's not going to be a fight, Sarah said firmly. We're going to show them who we really are. She opened the communication channel to all the ships in the system. This is Admiral Chun to all vessels. The Terran fleet is powering down weapons and opening our cargo holds for inspection. We have nothing to hide. Down on the mining station, Mrix watched as the huge human ships opened their cargo doors. Even from far away, he could see supplies floating in the storage areas. Not just weapons, but food, medical equipment, and repair tools. They really did come to help us, Trix said in amazement. Admiral Klex's voice came through the communication system again. Admiral Chun, we are scanning your cargo holds. You appear to be carrying enough medical supplies to treat an entire planet. Why would you need so much for a simple pirate attack? Because we didn't know how bad the situation was, Sarah replied. Our job is to be ready for anything. While the aliens were talking, Sarah's Marine commander, Colonel Martinez, was already working. He had sent teams down to the mining station to check on the workers and assess the damage. Admiral, Martinez's voice came through Sarah's communicator. The mining station's power system is pretty beat up. Nothing too serious, but it'll take them weeks to fix it with their basic tools. My engineers could have it working perfectly in about 4 hours. Do it, Sarah ordered. And send medical teams to check on all the workers. Make sure nobody got hurt during the attack. Already on it, Admiral. Dr. Williams is setting up a field hospital just in case. Admiral Theses had been listening to the human communications. She spoke to Admiral Klex on a private channel. Are you hearing this? They're actually helping the miners. I see it, Klex replied. My sensors show human Marines setting up medical equipment and repair stations. This is not how an invasion force behaves. Ambassador Nith was watching the human activity through her ship's cameras. She had never seen anything like it. The human soldiers were not acting like conquerors. They were acting like rescue workers. Admiral Chun, Nith said over the communication. System, your people are helping the miners without being asked. Why? Because they need help, Sarah answered. That's why we came here. On the mining station, Mrix couldn't believe what he was seeing. Human soldiers had arrived and immediately started fixing everything. They didn't ask for payment. They didn't demand anything in return. They just started working. A human engineer named Lieutenant Johnson was working on the main power system. Should have this fixed in a couple hours, he told Mrix. We're also upgrading your security systems so pirates can't disable your power so easily next time. You don't have to do that, Mrix said. We didn't ask for upgrades. Johnson smiled. That's okay. We like to fix things properly. Meanwhile, Dr. Williams was checking on all the workers to make sure nobody was injured. She found that several workers had hurt themselves during the panic when the pirates attacked, but everyone was too scared to ask for medical help. Why didn't you treat these injuries? Dr. Williams asked Mrix. We don't have good medical equipment. Mrix explained. And we didn't want to waste supplies on small injuries. Dr. Williams shook her head. These aren't small injuries. This worker has a broken rib. This one has a serious cut that could get infected. We need to treat these people right away. Within an hour, the human medical team had set up a complete field hospital. They were treating not just the injuries from the pirate attack, but also old health problems that the miners had been ignoring for months. The alien admirals were watching all of this with growing confusion and amazement. I don't understand, Admiral Klex said to Admiral Theses. They brought enough firepower to destroy this entire system, but they're using it to run a medical clinic. And look at their supply distribution, Theses replied. They're giving the miners food, tools, and equipment. For free, Ambassador Nith was filming everything to send back to her government. My people will never believe this. The most feared military force in the galaxy is giving away free medical care. But while everyone was focused on the rescue operation, nobody noticed that the pirate captain, Vex, had been watching the entire situation from a hidden location in the asteroid belt. Vex was not a smart pirate, but he was a greedy one. He saw all the ships gathering around Kepler 442c, and thought about all the valuable cargo they must be carrying. The Zephyrian trade ships especially caught his attention. "Boss," Skrik said, "there are too many warships down there. We should stay away." "Look at that Zephyrian diplomatic vessel," Vex said, pointing at Admiral Klex's flagship. "It's probably full of expensive trade goods and diplomatic gifts. And it's sitting there all alone while everyone is focused on the mining station. But boss, there are 200 human warships down there." "The humans won't care about one little trade ship," Vex said. "They're too busy playing doctor with the miners. Besides, by the time they notice what we're doing, we'll be long gone." Vex was making the biggest mistake of his criminal career. He thought he understood humans based on the stories he had heard. He thought they were just brutal warriors who only cared about fighting. He didn't understand that humans were much more dangerous when they were protecting people. "Get the crew ready," Vex ordered. "We're going to grab that diplomatic ship while everyone is distracted." Back on the mining station, Sarah was getting reports from her teams. "Admiral," Colonel Martinez reported, "the power system will be fully repaired in 2 hours. Medical teams have treated 47 workers for various injuries and illnesses. Engineering teams have upgraded their communication system and security networks. Good work, Colonel. How are the workers treating our people?" "They're amazed, Admiral. Most of them have never seen humans before. They thought we were going to be scary. But now they're bringing our soldiers food and asking questions about Earth." Sarah smiled. This was going much better than she had hoped. Maybe they could turn this diplomatic disaster into something positive. But her good mood was about to be interrupted. Lieutenant Rodriguez suddenly called out from his station. "Admiral, I'm detecting movement in the asteroid belt. Looks like ships powering up weapons." Sarah's expression hardened. "How many ships?" "6 vessels, Admiral. Same energy signatures as the ships that attacked the mining station originally. The pirates were back, and this time they were about to learn what happened when you threatened people under human protection." Vex smiled as his 6 pirate ships moved toward Admiral Klex's diplomatic vessel. The Zephyrian ship was beautiful, painted in blue and gold colors that showed its importance. More importantly, it was alone and far from the human fleet. "Target their engines first," Vex ordered his crew. "We don't want them running away before we can board them." "Boss," Skrik said nervously, "are you sure the humans won't notice?" "They're too busy playing nurse with the miners," Vex laughed. "By the time they figure out what's happening, we'll have everything valuable and be gone." But Vex had made a terrible mistake. He didn't understand that humans had something called situational awareness. Even while helping the miners, they were watching everything that happened in the system. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Lieutenant Rodriguez was tracking every ship movement. "Admiral, the pirate vessels are moving toward the Zephyrian flagship. They're charging weapons." Admiral Sarah Chun didn't hesitate for even 1 second. "All ships, battle stations. Commander Park, get me a direct line to Admiral Klex. Lieutenant Rodriguez, I want targeting solutions on all 6 pirate vessels." "Admiral," Commander Park said. "Admiral Klex is responding." "Admiral Klex, this is Admiral Chun. You have 6 pirate ships approaching your position with hostile intent. Please move to a safe distance immediately." On his ship, Admiral Klex looked at his tactical display in confusion. "Admiral Chun, I see the ships, but they're very small. Surely my ship can handle 6 pirates." "Sir, with respect, please trust me on this. Move your ship now." Before Klex could respond, the pirate ships opened fire. Energy beams hit his ship's shields, causing alarms to sound throughout the vessel. "All Zephyrian ships, take evasive action." Klex ordered his small escort fleet, but the pirates had planned their attack well. They had waited until the Zephyrian ships were spread out and vulnerable. Within minutes, they had damaged 2 escort ships and were closing in on Klex's flagship. "This is Admiral Klex to all ships. We are under attack." Repeat, we are under attack. On the mining station, Rex and his workers watched in horror as weapon fire lit up the sky. The peaceful day had suddenly turned into a battle zone. Are the humans going to help them? Trix asked. His answer came immediately. The entire human fleet moved as one unit. 200 warships turned toward the pirate attack with military precision that took everyone's breath away. But Sarah Chun did something that surprised everyone. Instead of using her massive firepower to simply destroy the pirate ships, she chose a different approach. This is Admiral Chun to all pirate vessels. You are ordered to stop your attack immediately and surrender. Vex heard the message and laughed. The humans are giving us orders? They're too far away to stop us. Keep firing. All human ships, Sarah ordered. Execute precision capture protocol. I want those pirates alive, and I want Admiral Klex's ship protected. No shots that could hurt civilians. What happened next became legend throughout the galaxy. The human fleet moved with incredible speed and coordination. Instead of overwhelming firepower, they used surgical precision. Transport ships launched small fighters that darted between the pirate vessels like angry insects. Marine boarding craft approached from multiple directions. Not within 10 minutes. The humans had disabled all 6 pirate ships without firing a single shot that could have hurt Admiral Klex's vessel. They used electromagnetic pulse weapons to shut down pirate engines, tractor beams to control ship movement, and boarding parties to capture the pirates. Vex found himself face to face with a human Marine named Sergeant Thompson. The Marine was tall, strong, and wearing armor that made him look like a walking tank. You picked the wrong day to be a pirate, Thompson said calmly as he put handcuffs on Vex. The entire rescue operation took 15 minutes from start to finish. When it was over, all 6 pirate ships were captured. All pirates were in custody, and Admiral Klex's ship was completely safe. Admiral Chun, Klex's voice came through the communication system. Your people just saved my ship and my crew. How can we thank you? No thanks needed, Sarah replied. That's what allies do for each other. Ambassador Nith had watched the entire rescue operation with amazement. Admiral Chun, your fleet just displayed the most precise military operation I have ever seen. You could have destroyed those pirates in seconds, but instead you captured them without harming anyone. Destroying them would have been easy, Sarah said. Saving everyone was the right thing to do. Admiral Theses spoke up from her crystalline warship. Admiral Chun, I owe you an apology. When we saw your massive fleet heading toward this system, we thought you were planning to attack someone. We didn't understand that you were coming to protect people. Many species would have sent 1 or 2 ships to deal with a pirate problem, Admiral Klex added. Only humans would send 200 ships to make sure the job was done right. Down on the mining station, Rix was watching the human Marines finish their work. They had repaired all the damage from the original pirate attack, upgraded the stations. Defenses treated every worker's medical problems, and just rescued a diplomatic vessel from pirates. Administrator Mrix, said Lieutenant Johnson, the human engineer, we're finished with all the repairs. Your station is now better protected and more efficient than it was before the attack. Thank you, Mrix said. But why did you do all this? We're just a small mining station. We're not important. Johnson smiled. Every person is important. When someone calls for help, we come with everything we have. Colonel Martinez approached Sarah on the bridge of her flagship. Admiral, all prisoners are secured, all repairs are complete, and all medical treatments are finished. The mining station is safe. What about the diplomatic situation? Sarah asked. Admiral Klex has invited you to dinner on his ship. Admiral, Theses wants to discuss setting up joint patrol agreements. Ambassador Nith is asking if Earth would be interested in becoming the official protectors of herbivore alliance colonies. Sarah looked out at the peaceful system where just hours ago she thought she would find a major battle. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the mission was successful, but we might need to stay here a few more days for diplomatic meetings. Yes. Admiral, should I tell them about the mistake with the communication relay? Sarah thought for a moment. Tell them we learned something important today. When someone asks for help, it doesn't matter if you bring too much. It only matters if you bring too little. 6 months later, a small memorial plaque was installed at Kepler Mining Station. It read, "In appreciation of the humans who brought 200 ships to save 2,000 miners." Sometimes overwhelming kindness is the best response. The plaque was visible to every ship that visited the system, including the new permanent Earth Patrol base that had been built nearby. Admiral Klex had been right about one thing. The humans had become the galaxy's most reliable rapid response force. And it all started with a simple communication error and the very human belief that when someone needs help, you give them everything you have.